Welcome to the show, everyone. Today we have back a very special guest, Val Heart. She is the Real Dr. Doolittle, and you've heard her before on the show talking about communicating with your animals. And today we're doing a video. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, come on over to jjflazanes.tv so you can see this video and see her shining, smiling, loving face talk to you about your animals. But I wanted to bring her back. She'll be back on probably another time. We've got so many juicy topics that I want to share with you because, of course, it is my goal to empower you to have a new perspective on things, understand things at different levels, which helps you to deal with and maybe not take things so hard in life, especially when it comes to our animals, because of course most of us love them beyond the moon. And so then when we think about them, we have a heightened sense of emotional response. And so we want to tackle that a little bit. So Val, welcome back to the show.
Hey, JJ, I'm delighted to be here. Thanks.
I heard a lot of great things about our first episode, and people were like, that's amazing. And I will report that while we're not fully through the domino needing to be with Doug as much, maybe it's a little bit better, but I will tell you that her fur has come back and she is not over cleaning anymore. And it happened pretty quickly after we talked. So that's been nice because I've had more than one person deal with that issue and it hasn't gotten resolved. So even amongst the boxes that we're living in right now in our move, she is not stress cleaning anymore. And so thank you for that. And Sugar is no longer the first person to wake me up, the first cat. She'll only come after Luna has said, hello, Mom, it's time for me to eat now. And it's about 4 a.m. So at least, they allow me to sleep till 4 now. So this is good.
That's an improvement.
It's an improvement. So we're going to keep working on that because
we're going to work on that, honey.
I know. You and I have separate time set aside where I've hired Val to help me with Sugar's health and then everyone's health and definitely behavior. Since we're moving, I don't want my couches to be all scratched up. So today, what I thought we could talk about is, people heard that first show and, there's often that line of, well, I probably need to hire her. Well, yes, get on her schedule because she's very booked. And then there's okay, how do I do it myself? And we went over some of the things that people could do in terms of the pictures. You gave us that sort of that ESP conversation in visual, emotional frequency relaying to the animal. But I want to talk about some of the common misunderstandings people have and some of the things that we don't even realize we could be doing and improve upon in terms of understanding and communicating with our animals.
It's great questions. These are, when we're developing our intuitive senses, which is what this is, and it's called telepathy. It's, where you're hearing and feeling someone else over a distance. Empathy, highly sensitive people tend to do this all the time until we run screaming for the hills and become hermits because it's too much. But yeah, we have to learn how to modulate that. And if our subtle senses are asleep, unawakened, still in their wrapping box from when we were born, we want to pull that gift out, open it up, and start developing, building, growing your skills, because your intuition, oh my God, it's everything. That's what tells you which road to take when you're planning a route, right? It's what tells you what to do, what not to do. It gives you information you can't get in other ways. And by the way, communication, written and spoken, the largest percentage of it, 85% of the information is energetic. It's not the written or spoken words, it's energy. So who are we? We are energy. Who are animals? Energy. We are spiritual beings having physical experiences. So that, I would say, is the very first thing we all have to really get, because you're born with the innate ability, right, to share, send and receive information. And we have other ways to do it. The clairs, the 4 clairs. You know what they are, right, JJ?
I do. I actually have a strengthening intuition course where I go over all the clairs, and because people don't even recognize they have them sometimes, yes, and how they've experienced different aspects of each one of the clairs. And so when you have an awareness about it, it can tune us to when we get those hits, that clairsentient, that clair, what's the smell?
Smell?
Yeah, I did 6.
Or
So
smell. Go ahead.
smell and taste, right? So I did 6.
Yeah. Okay.
But clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, right? All so, and then the other ones, and I agree with you. Our intuition is. It's really, it's that what people think is their gut response, but what they don't understand. And some people, like when they look at healers, and that's why I work with so many different kinds of people. And I wanted to teach this course because strengthening intuition, which is what you do, teaching people how to communicate with their animals and tuning to yourself. It's like, it's a skill that can be learned. People just assume, well, I don't have that. Well, no, you're not programmed currently that way, but you can help to exercise and redevelop and reroute some of those brain patterns in order to be aware and now have that information. So I love that that's what you teach people to do with their animals.
Yeah, because until we do that, we're not our best self. We have not healed and evolved and grown, gotten the lessons, or fully engaged in participating in our life so that we become conscious, awake, aware. And for me, that's the whole point. A lot of my students, like you, they get into this and they think it's all about communicating with animals. And yes, it is. However, communication is communication. All beings communicate, humans too. So what they find is, or I think animals do a better job than people so much of the time. Anyway, but the point is that when you learn how to really communicate well, confidently and accurately, using your intuition, using your ability, of course there's body language, of course there's other stuff, but it originates with intention and conscious awareness and energy transference. Right? That's where it all begins. It's the source of it. So when you get really good at that, my students notice all of their communication changes. Communication with people, their boss, their family, their friends, their spouse, their kids, everything changes. It's a spiritual journey to becoming your best self. So yeah, important.
Absolutely. I think it's because it's only you can determine, like when we're assessing things in our life, what's right for me is going to be based on my resonance about it and my receiving of it and my body's response to it and my subconscious response to it. And so I think it's important for us to strengthen that. So we trust our source, we trust our information, we trust our guidance versus somebody else's guidance. And I think that too many times we give our power away to doctors or the media or the news or whomever to make decisions for us and tell us how we should think or feel and what is right for us. And we have our own guidance system we don't activate. And so I agree with you 100%. It is really life. And so I've always felt like because I have that in my life, I've always felt like I have a certain level of, I'm aware of my animal. Not to mention, I don't think of my animal as an animal. I think of them as an energetic being who, I agree with you, do communicate and are, because they don't think about thinking like we do, right? Because they don't think about thinking, they have less resistance to things. They're just sort of open energetically to most things, maybe a little resistance. I know you told the story about the horse and having that block emotionally on the last show. But I think all in all, animals, would you agree, have less resistance in life in general than humans do?
Yeah, I think you're onto something really important, JJ, because humans, we are so busy in the past and in the future. We're rarely fully present, So we're trapped in our mind, for one thing. We're active, busy, monkey brain, chatter, constantly drives us crazy, right? We don't know how to get quiet. We think that's all there is. We completely forget about the superconscious and the God mind. We forget we're an energetic being having a human experience. And it all goes to crap, excuse me. Is this a family show?
Don't worry. No, we say bad words all the time.
Oh, good. I love that. Good. I like bad words. So anyway, but it's, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. But it's really, really important. Knowing what you truly feel and remembering that emotions are energy in motion, unraveling these complicated knots that we get so trapped up in our mind. And then that's humans typically, right? Remember Max Headroom? Just the head, the talking head. That's no body, nothing else, just the talking head. That's all. But animals, on the other hand, are fully present for the most of the time. Occasionally, you can ask them what happened yesterday or last year or before they came to you or in a past life or something like that. And they know they can access that information, but they don't live there. They don't worry or fret about what's going to happen next year or next month or tomorrow at work or what's so-and-so. They don't do any of that. They're fully present right here. They're not resisting life. They're living it. Right? They're engaged with it. Their senses are aware, subtle and physical. They're in tune. Did I tell you about the time my cat, Tuffy Tiger, taught me how to purr?
No.
Oh, what a sweet experience. When you're with a cat and they're purring, right? So it's a gift. It is such a gift. All cats all around the world purr at the same frequency. This has been documented, researched. Scientists have confirmed. But that frequency is a healing frequency, very specific. So when a cat gifts you with their purr, not only are they modulating and blessing and balancing the space around them, but they're also gifting you into your body mind healing. So notice where your cat, if you have the blessing of a kitty to teach you, notice where they resonate to your body most often. Maybe they're on your lap, or maybe you're laying down and they pile on your chest. Maybe they're on your head, on your nose, who knows, on your ear. Maybe they're by your feet or your belly, so that area that they resonate with is a problem area for you, whether you know it and are aware of it or not. They are healing that area. And one of the reasons I know this is because he's now an ex-husband, but I was married to this man, and every time he would come home or when he was here and he would be chilling out, our cat, Tuffy Tiger, would pile up and lay herself right over his liver, right across his abdomen and across the liver area. And she would begin purring, and 30 seconds later, he's snoring. He's out like a light. Bonk. She could put him out like that. Okay, so she did that for years, always the same spot. And we separated. We got divorced. He doesn't have Tuffy Tiger in his life, healing and working on him every day. And a number of months later, he comes in and he tells me that the doctor just told him that he had liver cancer. And she had been cleaning and clearing and mitigating and slowing that or healing it for years. And then when he's gone, he doesn't have those daily treatments. And unfortunately, he died. So I started looking at that and really kind of tuning into it. And one day we were laying on the bed together. She's stretched out, gorgeous Tuffy. She's a tabby, long-haired tabby, beautiful green eyes, amazing kitty cat. I'll tell you more of her story. We could be here all day. I'd tell you Tuffy Tiger stories. But anyway, we're laying there and she's purring. And I said, Tuffy, tell me about purring. Teach me about purring. I don't quite understand. I've been told that scientists and researchers don't know how cats purr. It's a mystery. They've studied kitty cats. They've watched and done, what are you doing? What are you doing? They don't know. So tell me what happened. She said, why don't I teach you how? I'm just going to teach you how to purr. And I went, really? Well, that's fun. Okay. She said, okay, do what I do. Follow me, do what I do. And so we're laying there stretched out on the bed together and she's purring like a freight train, right? And I'm breathing with her. And then I'm tuning into the flow of energy, right? And she shows me, and I'm seeing it with my subtle sense, clairvoyance. I'm watching the flow of energy through her body. Do you know Tai Chi or Qigong? Have you done any of that sort of work?
I have a little bit of a familiarity to it, but I'm not an expert by any means.
Got it. So what it reminded me of is opening and closing the gateways in the body. This is a Tai Chi. It's a Qigong martial art thing that they do. And so she's pushing energy through her body and then pulling it. And it's like, flow it, send it, pull it. Flow it, send it, pull it. There's breathing and it's strong, and I'm beginning to do it in my own body, and I'm beginning to vibrate. It's so cool. And I'm going, how am I doing? How am I doing? And she said, keep practicing. Keep practicing. And so we're so in tune. JJ, it was so much fun. We're so in tune, and we're breathing and we're flowing, and the energy is just like, whoo, and rocking and rolling, kitty style. And at one point, there was a noise or something outside. The exact same time. I mean, I felt it. I heard it just as she did. I mean, we're so in tune. We both looked, and then we looked at each other and just continued to flow. It was so awesome. And I have to tell you, I felt so good afterwards. It's like I'd had a whole body cleansing. So just remember, when a cat gifts you with their purr, feel it, pay attention, right? Shut off your mind, feel that energy, and see if you can tell where they're sending it. Because it's not just, oh, I do this thing called purring and I'm making biscuits, on your leg or lap and poking you with my toes. And it's way beyond that. In fact, I find that working with animals, most of what they do is way beyond the body language. It's so advanced. It's just extraordinary what they can do.
So talking about them sending energy and healing, which I totally understand, get, and know, and in retrospect, thinking about all the cats and how they all lay on me in the same place, pretty much, unless I have all three of them, in which case they're all in different places. But cats, oh yeah, I get lots of healing. I have pictures of me with all three cats on me all the time.
Thank you. Yes.
But it also it makes me want to think, do they absorb? I know sometimes when shamans work with you, they absorb, they have a way to like release it, let it go. So they don't take it on. But do cats, I know they absorb energy from us. And so when they're in control, or when they're deciding to kind of heal us, are they taking it on inside themselves and keeping it? Or are they able to dissipate that?
What a great question. This is a phenomenon I named the human animal body mind connection. It is a phenomenon where we share energy, where they will take on our stuff. We can take on theirs. They mirror us. They act out our wounds, our stress, right? They act that out for us. And absolutely, they can take things on. My other cat, Peach, black and white tuxedo, domestic short hair. She was like 12 years old, and she started getting terribly ill. She was had arthritis. She got to where she couldn't even climb up on anything. She couldn't jump on anything. She could barely walk across the floor. And I'm thinking, oh, she's only 12. Why? You should be, my heart's breaking. And all of a sudden I got onto this topic, and I'm thinking, are you carrying anything from me and my soon-to-be ex-husband? And she said, well, yes, the energy between you is dreadful. It's terrible. It's dark, nasty energy, and I'm trying to sponge it off of you as quickly as I can because I love you both. And it's just, and she had taken so much of it into herself, it was killing her. And very strong-headed and opinionated. I know you don't know that about tuxedo cats. we argued about it. I said, what? Give us that back. That's not yours to take. And she said, well, it's the only way I can help you. And I said, that's not true. You're dying. That doesn't help us. So we argued about it for a little while. And we wound up with, you know what? I got it. We're now conscious. We're responsible for our lessons, for our journey, our process. Please give us back what you've taken, and we promise to deal with it, to do what we need to do with it. We do not want you dying. We don't want you sick. We do not give you permission to take this stuff on. It's ours. What we would rather you do is hold the space for love and healing and evolving into our best self. We need you to share love energy with us, because love energy is what heals. And we can keep generating negative, black, nasty energy for the rest of our life if that's what we choose to do. You don't need to take any of that on. In fact, it's not part of your soul contract with us. We're going to amend your soul contract. Don't do that. Do this. And she's okay, I got it. Good. And she took a nap. And when she woke up, she hopped down and she hopped over, and we're sitting there with our dinner, right? And she came over and she went, ooh, that smells tasty. And she leaped from the center of the floor all the way up landed in my dinner plate. Thank you very much. Food goes everywhere, and she jumps off like, oh, wow, that was fun. Yum, that was good. Wow, you know. And from then, she was fine. She was great. She recovered her health fully. She lived till she was almost 20. And had a lovely, good life. So it's really important to understand when your animals are acting out, or they're ill, or they're in pain, or something like that. There's so much else that could be going on, right? Look at your part. How are you contributing to this? What are they acting out for you? I remember a client I worked with. Her dog was paraplegic, had lost control of the dachshund hind end, lost control of her hind end, couldn't feel her tail, couldn't move her hind legs. And when I'm intuitive scanning and doing some healing and communicating with the dog, she said, it's right here on lumbar, I forgot what it was, lumbar 3 or 2 or something. And when I said that, the dog's person said, oh, and I went, what? And she said, that's where I have my back problem. Well, look at that, you two. That's a shared issue. That is a shared thing that you're both working on together. It's part of your soul contract, your soul purpose together. You're working on this issue together. How about we work with that and separate out what's yours and what's hers so that y'all can heal. And you know what? The puppy, about 30 minutes later, she starts wagging her tail. She can feel my hand again. That's a miracle. And, I don't know, about 30 more minutes after that, she was up and able to walk and getting around. Not great, but she was up and on using all 4 legs. So you never know where this stuff comes from until you communicate, until you ask these questions. Does that make sense, JJ?
It does. And again, remembering that everybody's on a different spectrum of how much they feel intuitively aware, connected, conscious of their animal. In fact, I'm thinking of a story of a client. And I think I don't have kids, but I know as an observer and as a child of parents that parents do the same thing with children, right? That a lot of times the children are absorbing what's going on in their house, and they're so hyper focused on the kid that they don't realize that the environment they've created is what the kid is responding to, and it's the same for the animals. Even because the child probably can't communicate any more so about it because it's an energetic thing than an animal can. Actually, an animal probably could communicate better if we could talk to them, if we understand. So Let's go over some of the common things that, like the basic things that humans can do. And it sounds like one of the first things, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if your animal's having a problem, to first like use it as a mirror. Because if we can take care of it for ourselves, it might in turn, like if your animal has anxiety, they're mirroring your anxiety.
Yes. Yes. If you're fearful, they're going to be fearful. If you're angry, they're going to look for what is it that's making mom angry, or dad. And often aggressive behavior is nothing more than that. You're upset about something, you're afraid of something, whatever. And they're there your dog especially is there to protect you. So they're looking from their viewpoint, what is it that's making mom so upset? Oh, every time she sees so-and-so walking their dog, she gets nervous. That must be that. I'm going to run them off. Right? They see things from a unique viewpoint in their own perspective and their own instinct and genetics and experiences and education, training and all that stuff. They put it all together and they try to help you. And if you haven't talked to them about it, you haven't had that heart-to-heart, mind-to-mind conversation yet, then you leave them to make it up on their own, and that's not a good thing. Kitty cats tend to be much more sensitive to psychic attack, to emotional imbalances, to energy disturbances, disturbances in the field, right? Or in the force. Dogs tend to be more interested in physical territory. So what's coming into our space that's got mom all upset, or dad, so talk about it. It's like, what are you really afraid of? And in our day, and what's going on in the world, there's a lot of things that have a lot of us pretty upset. We're struggling. But if we don't tell our pets, they don't know they didn't watch CNN and the news. They don't see, if they saw a fox that had 4 legs and a bushy tail, I don't know. Right. So talk to them, tell them what's annoying you, what's upsetting you, what are you worried or afraid of? And when you see it and feel it and say it, like I taught y'all in the first interview, right? When you see it, you put it all together, see it in your mind, feel what you're feeling that matches your story, and say it, and then spin the story so it has a positive, happy ending. Your pet can get it. Then they go, oh, you're worried about some asshole at work. Oh, now I understand. Oh, it's not about the dog, the neighbor dog, or the whatever at all. It's about some gut person I don't even know. What do you need from me, mom or dad? And you'll say, let's just play a game, or, let's just hang out. Let's just whatever, right? Have the conversation. Then they know how to help you. Tell them what they can do to help you. They don't know. You're going to have your child make it up. They'll try, but they might not get it right. So.
Well, I also think people think they're animals sometimes, and I hope this isn't going to sound too bad, but sometimes like the less conscious people in the world think that their animals are like stuffed animals. Like they should just be happy when I want them to be, give me attention when I want it, and then leave me alone the other however many hours of the day. Domino keeps begging to go outside. We currently live in a condo community and we just bought a house. So we'll be moving and we have a half of an acre and we're going to build a catio and it's going to be amazing for them. But even if she just likes to go on the concrete. And so we have this thing that she'll do sometimes where if I'm downstairs and I hear her, she's like, Mom, I just want to go outside. I want to go outside. I want to go outside. I want to go outside. And she stands at the door and she just, and she'll just keep going. And I looked yesterday and even, and normally I think somebody like Doug or let's say my ex would get mad or maybe yell. I'm like, okay, that's not going to help. Just like what wouldn't help with a kid. Yelling at them isn't going to make them stop. So I looked at her. I just looked at her and I shook my head like, no, we're not. And I just looked at her and she's like, okay. And then she came over to me, but it was an understanding of like, I treat her like a human in a way because it is again, an energetic conversation. And all I had to do was look at her like, we're not going outside right now.
Yeah.
It didn't mean she didn't stop trying. She kept trying, but we were having a nonverbal conversation that yelling wouldn't have helped. So give me another perspective that a person who wants to communicate. I have a client who was listening to the show that we did, and she has a dog, and now there's a lot of things going on in her house right now. Her mom is in the hospital, and she just had somebody leave the house. And so there's, some stresses that are going on. But what can a person do that they don't even think to do that will help any situation or help them to, again, tune to? And now, of course, Val has a class and she teaches people how to become more intuitive and how to work with animals like she does. So again, if you're interested in that, please go to jjflizanes.com/animals. You're going to start there. You're going to get the free download about communicating with your animals. But there are a lot of different programs that you could do, especially if you're someone who is an empath and you do have any of the clairs and you want to be able to do this. She's got a thriving business, so please check that out. You also can hire her. But again, we're here to empower all of you to get better at doing this basic, simple thing, because again, it is about strengthening your own intuition. So what are some of the things that we can do, the normal lay person? Now, again, we did go over this in the first episode. So if you haven't heard the first episode we did, Val went over how to communicate, and it was a 3-step process. But what about the quick little tips that people forget?
Yeah. Very good. One thing I wanted to note about Domino and you, she's at the door and she's trying to get your attention, and you gave her attention. You acknowledged her. You said, I get it, right? She felt heard. She felt respected. And you were clear and you said, not now. She went, oh, okay. How simple. How wonderful. No need to yell. There's no. Would you do that too? Your child is over there going, hey, Mom, can I have a candy or something? You're going to go, not now and not till after dinner. I don't know. Talk to them. Communicate. Okay. So anyway, it's all about communication. So typically we forget and we think, oh, they're not intelligent, or they don't really know, or they're not aware. They're just kind of, they don't really feel or think or reason, or they don't have a rich inner life like we know they do. But so that would be a mistake. Now, that would totally be a mistake. So for the person you were talking about, I'm so sorry. That's a rough thing to go through. Talk to your animals and tell them what's going on. Tell them where your loved one is that's in the hospital. Why are they in a hospital? What's happening to them? Are they coming home? When will they come home? Well, is there anything we could do to help them? Let's have this conversation with your pet. Really. Otherwise, it's like, well, a family member just disappeared and they never came back. We don't know what's going on. Mom's upset. Dad's upset, right? Something's terrible is happening. Maybe so. But if they don't know anything about it, how can they help you? Speaking of, how could they help you? Tell them what they can do. So one of the mistakes we often make is to overfocus on the negative and what's not working and what's like Domino, meow, 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 fingernails on the chalkboard, right? Like, no, stop it. But it's like, tell them what you do want. So if we overfocus and always correct the bad behavior, they don't know anything else. It's like, well, what else should I do? I don't know what to do. I'm not a plushie. I'm not an inanimate plushie toy that you stick on the shelf and leave me alone for 12 hours a day. No, I have a rich life. I'm living it 24/7, every second, every minute. I have all these gifts. I've got all this power. I've got connections to the universe and the angels and all this stuff. I'm a powerhouse of healing. I'm an angel in disguise. I'm a teacher. I'm a guide. Use me. It's why I'm in your life. It's part of our soul purpose together. It's why I'm here. I'm God's gift to you. I'm God's gift on loan to you. Use me. Tell me what you want me to do. Okay, if they're on the sofa, you don't want them on the sofa, and you're always yelling about them being on the sofa and seeing them on the sofa in your mind's eye. They don't know. They're on the sofa and you're all excited. Okay, you must want me to be on the sofa some more. right? As opposed to seeing them on the sofa, feeling how upset that makes you, and then going, what would make me happy is if you were over here in your own bed or, on your place or whatever. And then they say, oh, mom would be happier if I was over there. Oh, okay, I get it now. That's clear, right? So tell your pets, if someone leaves the family, divorce, separation, whatever, or child goes away to college or school or goes off to visit, who knows, whatever. Tell them, don't leave them in the dark. That's cruel. Right?
Well, the average person is going to say, tell them. They don't understand English.
Of course they do. Of course they understand English. They know Spanish and French.
Right. Right. They know frequency.
Yeah, exactly. Communication is communication. Speak it, see it, feel it. See it, feel it, say it, right? Whatever. Those are the 3 steps to send a message to an animal. Anybody can do that. All you have to do is see what you want them to see in your mind, visualize it, feel it. How would it feel if this was actually happening? And then tell them the story. Now, critical thing with storytelling, if it's a painful story, a distressing story, a story that feels sad or angry or upsetting or something like that, don't be afraid of those emotions. Animals get it. What they don't get is when you try to pretend that you're feeling something you're not. When you gloss it over or suppress it and then pretend and you're all in your head because you can't feel your body, because if you felt your body, you'd be feeling all these painful, conflicting emotions. Well, and they're looking at you going, what the heck is wrong with you? I hear the words coming out of your mouth. I see what's in your head. And none of that matches with what's really going on in your body. You're so out of alignment. I don't know what to do with you. Right? So we have to get in alignment. We need to be congruent with the message we're telling. So if you're upset, feel upset. You're sad, feel sad. Cry. Okay, they get that. They know that. They get it. Feeling love, great. Share love, right? Share joy, share happiness, share what do you feel? Feel it, right? I think one of the biggest problems people often have is they feel things they don't know how to process. They don't know how to deal with, and so they just suppress and stuff it. And when you do that, you start degenerating energetically. You get sick. You're going to get pain. Your body starts breaking down, and your animals are clueless. They do not understand why you would be so out of alignment. Animals are never out of alignment. They are always congruent with who they are in any given moment. Does that make sense, JJ?
Oh, absolutely. And, part of the practice, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's the same thing for strengthening intuition. Too many times people don't recognize the difference between negative momentum that's out of alignment. So they'll have a thought, they're already out of alignment, they have negative momentum, and they'll think, oh, this thought must be true. No, that thought is out of alignment. That is not intuition. Your intuition is when you're in alignment, period. And then you get the information. But anything else, if you're out of alignment, is in a negative momentum, and it's like the train's off the track. And until you get the train back off the track, you're just going to keep hearing the squeaking. And anything bad that comes out of that is literally just being out of alignment. It's pretty simple. So part of, I think, between the intuition course and what you're teaching people on how to connect with animals, you're actually asking them to become conscious and in alignment with who they are. And it's almost like a trick. It's the trick of, hey, do you want to communicate with your animals? You have to actually be in your body. Okay, that's number one. You have to be in alignment. That's number two. Oops. And what happens to your life? It gets better. And then by default, your animals heal and feel better and everybody gets better. But it's kind of a trick because you can't talk to your animals if you're out of alignment. So we got to deal with you first, right? Did I get it?
Exactly.
Right.
You nailed it. Oh man, where's the prize? I want to find a medal for you. You got it. I mean, that's what a beautiful way you expressed it so brilliantly. And that's the truth. It's animals bring their people to me kicking and screaming all the way, thinking it's all about the animal. Please fix my animal. And the animal is like, please tell them to stop doing this or to heal or to deal with whatever it is, so that I can be my wonderful self again. And I don't have to keep acting acting out their bullshit. I'm so tired of having to act out this role for them and then being blamed and punished for it when I'm trying valiantly to get the message across so they can see what they're doing and see what they're projecting. And it's not really what I want to do. It's not who I am. But and what happens is as soon as the person gets it and goes, oh, that light bulb aha moment, then the animal goes, oh, thank goodness. And they take a big sigh of relief and go take a nap for 12 hours. It's like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do that anymore. And everything changes, but it really is. I love what you said. Yeah, it's a trick. It's a trick to enlightenment, a trick to ascension.
Well,
it's a spiritual journey.
Yeah. And I'm being, trick is not, but it is true. It is true because it's like, well, again, with the parents, with the kids, my God, my kid's acting out. Well, how about let's look what's going on at home. What's going on with you?
Oh, don't look there.
Right. No, but I want to concentrate on his behavior where he's a reflection of you. So how about we look at you? And too often we're just so disconnected. Not necessarily people who listen to my show, but, or all of us at some point, with going through a move and as we're doing. And there are times, and I'm right now in this reflection of my own animals and we're working on all of them. And, but thinking to myself of past animals and, one of the topics that we will talk about on a future show. So I was rollerblading today and before today's show, and I was thinking, it's like, I got my intuitive hit as I always do rollerblading. It's going to be interesting to figure out what cardio or activity in my new home is going to open up the channel of intuition fastest, because I could be doing 10 things at the same time of rollerblading, but somehow that channel is always wide open and I'm getting hits all the time. So I had this idea that, Val's going to come back on the show and I'm going to talk about how Domino isn't stress cleaning anymore. And, eventually people who've been asking me are going to ask. And then eventually, in years to come and years, hopefully a lot of years to come, the animals that I have now will transition. And I thought, we need to deal with that, which we will, guys, but on another show. Yeah. And one of the things that, again, I've dealt with a lot of healers and my intuition has increased over the years. And some of the intuitives that I've worked with have been able to give me information about past animals, like a kitten that I had that died. And I know that brought me some peace. And I know that not everyone knows that about their animals and about these contracts that we have. And we're gonna get deeper into that on another episode. But I just wanted to put it out there for you that you do have a soul contract with your animal. And again, the animal's behavior is information. And if you just look at it as your animal's being ornery or bad or misbehaving, again, this is the wrong point of view because you're not aware or accepting or acknowledging the contract and the relationship that you have and the reason the animal's in your life. And like you said, the healing they're trying to give you or the messages they're trying to give you or the things they're trying to work out for you, you miss the boat when it's all about the animal and not the animal's relationship to you, your growth, your healing, and whatever's going on with you. So can we speak we're going to do a show, but let's about these contracts that we have with animals.
Yeah. So we travel in what could be considered a soul pod, a group of souls who are having lifetimes and we're working on lessons and evolving, sort of like you're in school, right? And everybody's in the 5th grade. Or, right, you're all in school and you're working on this assignment. I've got this assignment. And we're going to explore this experience together from different roles and viewpoints. In this lifetime, you're going to be male, you'll be female, you're going to be a dog, you're going to be a cat, you're going to be whatever. We'll all choose up our roles and get our game plan. And then we begin, right? Start the sounding bell or whatever, let's begin. And then you live your life together and you have a purpose together. It's part of your contracts, what you agreed to before you came here. And maybe it's a contract you had many lifetimes ago. Maybe it's a new one, an addendum to a contract. It's like, this lifetime, we're going to explore blah, blah, blah. And this time we're going to trade roles. So last time you were the bully. This time I'm going to be the bully. And, and together we're going to heal and evolve and grow and expand our consciousness. And we're going to have, that's what we do. So does that does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense to me. And I've done a whole show on soul contracts of people. Yeah. But when I had when this kitten I'd had her, and I went against my better judgment of giving her a shot. It was like her third shot. And again, she was little. She was 2 months old, I think, at the time. And she only lived to 4 months. Or maybe 5. She did make it to 6, but she got FIP. And I was pretty convinced that it was because she was over chemicaled, that it triggered her body to, because everybody, again, FIP, by the way, has a coronavirus, is a coronavirus in cats. But it doesn't always manifest, and it's not always life threatening. But when it activates as FIP, it is often fatal, and most of the time it's fatal. So this had happened, and I took her to acupuncture. Anyway, I was doing all the things, and I was so committed. But at the same time, when she left and when she died, which was horrible for me, the healer I was working with said her sole purpose of coming was to find a deep and profound love. And when she did, she was done. And I was like, which of course made the whole thing feel a little bit better. I was still crying my eyes out and still ridiculously sad and mourning her. But I was like, well, what the hell was my contract with her? And I thought, I know that because, okay, she got a deep and profound love, and now she is good to go, and she has transitioned back into non-physical. And I'm left here like with a hole in my heart thinking, I mean, not really, I'm being dramatic. I recognized that felt good, and I'm glad I could give her what she was looking for. Some ideas I had about what my role was to question some of the practices that I was doing with the cats, change their diets. I mean, I did learn, my cats since then have benefited from the things I learned in that moment from her. So she was definitely helping my other cats and their future lives by what I was learning from her. But, I think and we'll talk about this on another show about transition. I wanted to plant that seed for you guys, because it's painful. It's hard. It brings up emotion. And maybe sometimes your contract with your animal is to generate emotion, is to break you open and have you be in the present moment and stop. And maybe they're giving you an outlet to release some of the repressed emotion you've been holding on to. And maybe their life is the way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So. But, for your soul contract with the kitten, look what you did with those lessons. So she came with a completely different intention, got her purpose, had that experience, and said, thank you. I'm out of here. Right. And you're like, the dangers of shots. The dangers of bad food. Oh my God, you got so much out of it, of what she taught you. That has gone on, like you paid it forward many, 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 many times, right? That was your part of the agreement. So, yeah. And yes. Yeah.
So the first step, if you haven't already heard the first show that Val and I did, was to go back and listen to that if you haven't heard it, in terms of walking through the pictures and the communication, the basics of the communicating with your animal. I think out of today, what we can really focus on and hold true is that possibly the problem is you, said person, or
number one.
Yeah. And what can you do what's the mirror that can be shown back to you? What can you do to help your pet first and foremost? And then, of course, if you are interested in learning more on how to strengthen that and to maybe even start a business in pet communication and working with people and their pets, like I said, Val has a course, but you can start with jjflizanes.com/animals, which will take you to her free guide. You start there, do that free guide, and then start to look around, and you can hire her to help you. In the meantime, if you have a problem or a situation that you just don't feel you have the patience to start working on yourself, I have a situation where, and hopefully maybe we'll address this on the next show, because there'll be a lot, you and I will have a couple more sessions between now and then. So I can talk a little bit more about sugar in my contract and this whole thing that she's going through, because it's the most unique to date of any cat I've ever had, ever seen. And I think that's an important thing to address also. So is there anything else, any other resources that you want them to go to after they click through, they go to jjfilzanes.com/animals, they get their guide, and then what's like the next step?
So the next step, after you've learned how to send messages to animals, start learning about the subtle senses, about, receiving, open yourself to receiving information and not just glossing it over or suppressing it or ignoring your intuitive hits, but giving that some airtime, notice, feel, pay attention. The universe and your animals are trying to get messages to you. So don't block them. Stop blocking and limiting yourself. You are so much bigger than you think. Your animals know that, which is what puzzles the heck out of them. They look at you and you're pretending to play small and you're not small. But opening yourself up to that, go to our blog, look at the courses on the website. We've got the full array. You've got all the special topics. You've got the beginning course, the advanced mastery course. There's the coaching club where I can interact with you and assist you with your animals, and you can practice and get good at it. And when you're really good at it, and if this is your passion, then absolutely start a business, help other people with their animals, be the bridge, be the voice for animals and their people. It's such a fulfilling and brilliant mission, and it helps the world be a better place. And really, isn't that what this is all about?
Absolutely. And you need help. Just like I needed help. I started a certification because I can't have to teach people what I know to help other people, because I can't work with everybody, and Val can't work with everybody. It's just not enough time in the day, days in the week, weeks of the month, months of the year, and years of our life. We have to keep moving it forward. So if it's something that speaks to you, please get in touch with her. Make sure she knows that you heard her on these shows. Again, start off with going to jjfilzanes.com/animals. It gets you in her system. It gets you the downloaded free book on how to start communicating with your animals. And then you have access to everything after that to just take a look and see what works for you. Now, if you would like to hire her, she is available. I'll just tell you, she is very busy. So if that's something you want to do it now, because there's going to be like a 2 or 3 month wait time. So I'm not kidding. So do it now if you want to sign up with her. Again, tell her that you heard her on the show. Tell her you heard her on my show.
Yeah.
And I will be bringing to you my, results after the next couple of sessions and the story about what's going on over here, so that you can hear in case it's happening to you or you're coming up against this type of it's very new for me, this situation with sugar. And there was really nobody else, no vet was going to help me. Well, again, like I said, I have some healer friends and they don't really work on animals, even though they can. Why not go to the specialist that knows what they know and is specialized in your animals?
Thank you. That would be me.
That would be Val. Yes. Excellent. All right. So until next time, we are going to handle more of your soul contract with your pets, the reasons why your pets are here more deeply than this, and how to deal with the transition of the pet. Oh God, we'll have to talk about that movie that I hate. Hachi. Oh my God, that movie kills me. Do you know Hachi? Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll save it. If any, that movie it killed me. I said, I cried my eyes out and I said, I hate that movie. I hate that movie. But anyway, we'll get to that next time. So Val, thank you so much for being back on the show.
Something to look forward to, eh? Bring Kleenex. So tip, bring Kleenex.
Yeah, for the next show, bring Kleenex. Okay.
Yeah.
In the meantime, check out jjfilzanes.com/animals. Val, thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Great talk. Thank you for loving animals. We all make the world a better place.